bite your arm. Are we rolling?
We're rolling.
Oh, great. We're on a roll. Good
Hi, everybody.
day, everybody.
And welcome to Getting Back to Me, Both Sides of the Story.
Last chapter of Scottie's book.
Last episode for a while. We're coming to the end of what we set out to do, so we're gonna take a break after this episode and come back in a whole new format because we've had a lot of great feedback that people are enjoying this, and we're gonna kind of spice things up a little bit and kind of change it around a little bit. But the focus of this one has been my book,
Right?
and so that's what we've been doing, marching forward chapter by chapter and getting Marcy's perspective on what Scottie had written.
And yours, face it.
Oh, and mine for sure.
It's not like I just talk.
No, I think they know by now what we do. Anyways.
So this is the last chapter.
It's the last chapter.
We've chosen a little chunk out of it.
That's right. Chapter 38, Defying Gravity.
Wicked.
And as, yeah, for sure. So at this stage...
And I think you should just read. Really.
Well, let's just
try it. Just try it.
No, because they have to know where my mental state is, otherwise the punchline doesn't work.
Yes, it does. Trust me.
I'm freaking out. I thought by now, in the writing of my book, that I would have a gig.
See how much she listens to me?
I don't have a gig at this point, and I'm starting to flip out. And Marcy's... Usually the way it worked our entire marriage is that Marcy would be the one who would stress about money, and I would be the one who would have to put my arm around her and calm her.
Pull me back from the edge of the...
Pull her back from the edge of the cliff, take the knife out of her hands, not let her take the razor blade away.
But no, not razor blade. It would be nice.
That's true. And but our roles are reversed. Marcy's talking me down, talking me back from desperation and fear. So one Sunday morning, we're in our little...
It says.
Yep, our love nest. We wiped the sleep from our eyes this morning, awakened by the snoring of our beloved Zuzi, who's lying between us on the bed. Neither of us had enough room to actually sleep. Zuzi's not got a lot of time left here on the planet, and we're both making the most of every moment. Marcy picks up her iPad. It's a wonderful addition to every American bedroom. I highly recommend it. And scrolls through her Facebook page for something somebody posted that she just has to show me. As she scrolls, anticipation builds. This must be the Holy Grail, the one piece of wisdom that will kick it all loose, that will unblock this dam, that will release the dogs. But she can't find it. It was here, just here, she says. She's taking way too long, and I've got work to do. We've still got to walk the dogs, and I've got a laser appointment. Once you start, any interruption is money wasted. And I'm just trying to stay interested. I can't even remember the point she's trying to make. It's bad mood. Call it up, girl, before it's too late. And I try to let her off the hook, saying, well, why don't you just tell me what it was? After all this anticipation, there's no way it could be better than your description. But she's a dog on a scent, and won't back down until, scrolling, here it is! And with great glee, she hits play, and we watch a video of a cow playing with a soccer ball. I stare at her. That's it? That's it? All of this anticipation was for a cow playing with a soccer ball. My love blinks at me. Yes. I think this one needs a lot of explanation.
Well, I just remember when I saw it, how, first of all, adorable it is. But I think it's so out of the realm of what one would expect, that's what makes it even cuter. I mean, the cow was like dribbling the soccer ball and sniffing it and kicking it. And it's like, a cow? Really? A cow playing with a soccer ball? So I when I had first seen it, it just snapped me out of whatever funk I was in. And I really wanted to show it to you. And obviously it wouldn't have done anything if I had told you about it. But it's true. There was such a build-up to it. I'm sure you thought angels were going to drop down and wrap you in golden robes and hand you the Holy Grail or something. But it was funny.
Well, I think the reason why it was the perfect moment and the great place to end the book is that what it really showed is what we have come to live, and that's light, laughter, and love. I mean, you're not going to solve the world's problems with your transition. You're only going to solve the one problem, which was necessitating your transition. But also, that's sometimes when people say that, it sounds like a real depressing thought. But you were able to recognize through your love for me what I needed at that moment. I mean,
What better reminder could you have for being in the moment? By the way, I mean, because it completely
it's just like fried my circuitry completely. I was like,
and then when you made me the card, you actually found a cow and a soccer ball.
I actually found a cow playing a soccer ball. That's right.
So cute. So
yeah,
I highly recommend it if you want to bounce out of a bad mood. Just find a cow playing with soccer ball. It's a great clip.
But I think that's one thing that I'm hoping that everybody gets through the reading of my book is that you don't transition alone. All the things that you fear are not worth all that fear. That doesn't mean that they're not going to be there, but they're not worthy of any of that fear that you had.
Yeah.
My biggest fear was losing you.
And funny, mine was losing you.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I realized that, that's partly what turned everything around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think what I want for couples to know is that I want the spouse to know that you weren't being deceived.
Mm.
It's that you're going to be the one person who knows the one thing we can't tell anybody. And that seems strange because the girls that I was exploring with and trying to find out about myself, it seemed like to you that they were getting that one piece that you didn't get.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't get any of the pieces that you ever got. So they don't know anything more. So that's something. It's like when we're trying to find ourselves, we're not lying to people. We're just trying to find a way to be who it is that we are. And some of us take longer to find that. It took me 45 years to figure out how to be.
Well, and as we've said before, it wasn't like today, where the topic is very well known, and people have a pretty good understanding of what it is and what it isn't. A lot of people still fight it, but there's still an it to fight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you didn't even have transgender in your vocabulary. You were just dealing with feelings. I remember that woman who was sitting beside me in chemo a few years ago, who was in her 70s. And we got talking, and she said that she was gay. But because of the times that she was born, she didn't know really what that was, and all she knew was her feelings didn't feel right. So she followed the normal path of getting married, having children, and it wasn't until she was in her 50s that she went, wait a minute. And now she's been in a 20-year relationship with another woman, and she's really happy. But it struck me how much the story was exactly the same. The vocabulary she used was exactly like yours. And that's, the same thing was true back then. And religion was against it, and you couldn't tell your parents, and you didn't even know what it was to tell. What are you going to tell? How are you going to describe, I feel funny, or I don't feel right, or so... I'm very grateful. This is why I feel like I'm glad we are doing the work that we're doing, because I'm hoping it contributes to that normalization.
Ew, I don't want to be normal.
Well, it always bugs me when we talk normal anyway, because the norm means like in the middle of the road. It's like Procter & Gamble's way of doing marketing. They don't go out on a limb. They do all these they do all these tests, and the response they get from the focus groups that's like the least offensive is what they choose. That's a good, I think it, no. So anyway.
But I think what you're saying is like not the normalization. So let's pick another word, but the basically the acceptance. I mean,
Acceptance.
What it is
Comfort zone.
I don't question whether somebody is German.
Right.
I don't question if a man says he's a man. I don't question it. So how could he question if I'm a woman? But yet people feel like they have the right to question those in the LGBT community. Like they have a right to point at it and go, no, you're not. I don't know where that comes from, but that's what we've been fighting. The thing that I think I want the cis world and the straight world to know from our perspective is that love is love. I mean, if it has to be as obvious and it has to go through the trials that show that love is love, then here we are.
Right.
Here we are. It doesn't change. It grows bigger because I'm able to access more of me. And let's face it, I'm proud of the fact that you never knew that you weren't getting less than 100%.
Yeah.
Now you're getting 200%.
Well, I think, and maybe we can wrap soon, but it struck me even just rereading about Zuzi, because that's I think an important part. That's why I kind of wanted to include that in there, because life is full of all those kinds of experiences. And the way we both loved Zuzu, I think we were able to handle her parting much more easily because we were together and because we both loved her so much and she knew she was loved equally. So things happen in life, and you can choose to face them together. It's usually easier when you can. So she was just also that reminder, and she also was the living embodiment of unconditional love. She was there every second to remind us, because she also played with soccer balls. I mean, she was playful and she was light, laughter, and love. Yeah. Always. She never had a moment other than that. So we should all come back as Labradors in our next session.
Let's do this, since this is our very last one. Let's just read the last line of the book, because I think that's important, because it sets, the rest of life up for it, and end on that. I set out to tell a tale about how a girl grows up as a boy to become a woman, to show how the little whispers of doubt and fear can either be your stone-cold prison, or once you realize how strong the human heart really is, the guiding light. And yet I do feel that the winds of change are in my favor, and it's here that Pollyannaism suits me perfectly, because I can feel that the biggest change from my transformation of these last 6 months, from M to F, from brother to sister, from son to daughter, from nephew to niece, from husband to honey, from Scott to Scottie, has been from denial to acceptance, from sadness and fear to overwhelming joy. Without huge fanfare or fireworks, my prayers to one day wake up as the girl I have always been have been answered. I got back to me. I can't wait to see the woman that I will become as I take my place among the great women of my family and my life. I owe it to them, to my love, and to myself, to step out into this world with my best foot forward. Only now, thank God, it will be in a tasteful 3-inch heel. 4 inches for special occasions.
But you can't kick a soccer ball as easily in a 4-inch.
No, you can. I'm Wonder Woman. I can do it all.
That's true.
Well, thank you for being on this journey with us.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. It's been good for us and fun for us, and hopefully if it brought you any joy or answers or more questions or anything, we're happy.
Yes, and bring all that questions to us. Stay tuned for whatever we're going to do next.
How do they ask us questions?
They can send us emails.
Because it's listed somewhere in this
Mm-hmm.
thing that you'll be seeing. Okay.
That's right. Either on YouTube or on other things. All of them have an email address.
Okay.
We look forward to your questions, and
Seeing you again soon.
We'll pop on whenever we get a chance to. We've got a lot of speaking engagements coming up between now and June. But I'm sure we'll be back on the air sometime in April is what I'm kind of feeling like.
Okay. That's a deal.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Radiate light, laughter, and
love.
We love you, Susie.
Love.